Look at yourself. You can't even wear evening dresses for us to go out to work events. You always wear loose men's clothes. It's over between us. My story began when I was a young, beautiful, and slender woman. Young men were vying for my attention. I wanted to choose the best among them. So I chose a wealthy man named David. We had a lavish wedding. After our marriage, we traveled to many countries. I lived happy days. And in just a few months, I became pregnant. David pampered me and bought me everything I craved. Until our first child, Lucas, was born. Unfortunately, I couldn't give birth naturally, so I resorted to a cesarean section. David adored his son Lucas and took him everywhere he went. He brought joy to our family. During work parties, I met his friends' wives who would compliment my beauty and figure. Naturally, I was very pleased by that. When Lucas was 5 months old, I felt a pain in my stomach. David took me to the hospital. I was shocked when the doctor told me I was pregnant again. I wasn't ready for this pregnancy at all. I hadn't planned for it, and even David wasn't welcoming of my second pregnancy. So, I returned home feeling downcast. I did nothing but eat and sleep. My body became flabby. Then came the time for delivery, and I was blessed with Leo. Of course, through another cesarean section. As you know, the belly remains protruding after surgery, and because of this, started criticizing my looks and appearance. I fell into depression and began eating voraciously. My belly became even more prominent than before. Whenever I met with my friends, they would criticize me and talk about my excess weight, as if there was nothing else to discuss but my weight and appearance. One day, I entered the room and found out David browsing my photos on his computer. Look at your pictures. Do you see how beautiful and slim you were? That was before the cesarean delivery. Don't let childbirth be an excuse for neglecting yourself. Look at yourself. You can't even wear evening dresses for us to go out to work events. You always wear loose men's clothes. Honestly, I can't stand seeing you like this anymore. You're being harsh on me. You know I've only recently gotten over depression. All the women we see on TV give birth and exercise. And you sit on the bed eating lots of sweets, sandwiches, and sodas. Then you say it's because of depression. I couldn't take it and ran out crying. And whenever I felt sad, I turned to food. I entered the kitchen, sat on the floor, and started devouring the food. I heard David's footsteps as they neared the kitchen. I'm sorry for what I said. I only meant your best interest. He entered the kitchen, shocked at the sight of me gorging on the food. This is disgusting. Didn't you understand anything from what I just said? You truly are a careless and trivial woman, and I can't continue living with you? I want a woman who can accompany me to every business dinner, a woman I can be proud of in front of my friends and family. And that's why I've made my decision. What decision are you talking about? It's over between us. You chose your path, and I will choose mine. David went to his room, packed his clothes in a suitcase. He took it and left without uttering another word. Since that day, he never returned home and sent me the divorce papers. And even though he was sending child support, yet I needed his presence by my side. When things got worse, I had to see a psychologist and underwent numerous therapy sessions, and the outcome was wonderful. The doctor managed to restore my hope. I started exercising and joined charitable organizations. I began accompanying them to poor neighborhoods to lend a helping hand. I started going out with my sons, taking walks with them to make up for their father's absence. I became busy all the time. I no longer had time to dwell on the past. And one day, while we were shopping, I saw David with a slender blonde girl. She was wearing an engagement ring. When I saw him, I changed my path so he wouldn't see me. I hid until he entered a store. Then I left the mall. I didn't feel okay, so I stopped by the psychologist. You have to face your fears. You are now a good mother, an athletic woman, and a successful lady, doing good and serving the community. You should value and trust yourself. You're right, thank God. I've been relieved from thinking about him, but I want him to regret leaving me. Well, you should start your own project, sewing or making sweets or anything you're skilled at. You need to distract yourself from thinking about him as it will improve your mood. An idea occurred to me. I'll open a gym, and this way I'll be more motivated and keep up with exercising. I sold my jewelry and started to turn my project into reality. I opened a gym exclusively for women. Many girls joined the club, and we became one family. I hired a nutritionist at the club. She started providing us with weekly meal plans. She monitored all of us to see our commitment to the diet. And the surprise, it was when I went from 286 pounds to 187 pounds in just 1 year. I was ready to lose even more and reach my ideal weight with my amazing team. One day, I heard a knock at the door. I opened it to find David's personal driver. How can I help you? David had a car accident and he's in a private hospital. Oh my God, how is he? Is he okay? You'll see him and check on him yourself. He sent me to get you because he wants to see you and the children. I took Lucas and Leo, and we rode with the driver who took us to the hospital. He walked ahead of us, and we followed him until he reached a room at the end of the corridor. This is the room, ma'am. I knocked on the door and entered. David was lying in bed with his leg in a sling. Thank God you're safe. What happened to you? But he didn't answer me and just kept looking at me, puzzled. Amelia, is that you? How did you become so fit and beautiful? Even at your worst, you haven't changed. Why did you ask us to come? I wanted to apologize for what I had done. But now that I've seen you, I want our relationship to go back to the way it was. Would you take me back as your husband? That will never happen. And where is your blonde fiancé? We were together when I had a car accident. She escaped unharmed while I suffered a back injury. The doctor says I won't be able to walk for a long time. And when she heard his words, she abandoned me, saying she didn't want to continue her life with a guy confined to a wheelchair. I drank from the same cup you gave me. You were the reason I regained my self-confidence. I've become stronger and better. I've moved past my love for you and closed the last page that reminded me of you. All that remains between us and what you have, you can visit them anytime you want. Despite everything that happened, I truly wish you the best. I felt at ease saying these words. I've become an independent woman. I saw regret in his eyes, and I took Lucas and Leo and left that place. Years later, numerous television channels and talk shows began reaching out to me, eager to hear my story as an inspiring journey that could empower countless women to have faith in their own capabilities.